Okay, everybody, what's up? Good evening. Game just wrapped up a couple of minutes ago, and the Seahawks lose 19-16. But unlike last week, there's actually a lot of positive stuff to take out of this one. There was a lot of good stuff that happened out there, and the loss mostly came down to, I would say, third stringers and fourth stringers that ultimately don't really factor into this team's fate this season. So let's get into it a little bit and try to find the right balance here, because it wasn't all great, obviously, and there were some things that were a little bit frustrating in this game, and there's going to be at least one thing, okay, let me take that back, at least two things that are going to be a little bit more serious, but overall, better effort. You saw that Mike's message sunk in quite a bit this week. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So game starts out about as good as it can be. We get the ball, we go right down the field, we score. Drew Lock hitting Arroyo on what is granted a broken play. I understand that. Or a busted play rather, by the defense, busted coverage. But still, we had a couple of really nice plays by Arroyo in this game. We had one on the third down, we had the touchdown, and even though it's a busted coverage, you still gotta take it home, and they did. And then the next time you get the ball, Jacardia Wright goes for 70 yards, which that is against the starting Titans defense. And you can make whatever jokes you want to make about the Titans. Some of them are probably true. They're not a very good team, but they've got some good players on that defense. And our backups were doing damage on them, especially Jeffrey Simmons, who really did not have much of an impact on this game, despite getting to play against guys like Christian Haynes and Oluwatimi, and a little bit of Bo Stevens, I think, got in there a little bit at one point. Richmond got hurt early, and I don't think he went back in, but those were backups and even some third stringers out there, and we were still able to get the job done for most of the game. Drew Lock was really, really good, and then he made the one throw that reminds you that he's still Drew Lock, but it didn't count. I don't know about that call that made it not count, but it didn't count. And overall, he did show you why he is a valuable piece on this team and somebody that we value enough to keep around, even when there are times when it might feel like he might serve us better as a trade candidate. We need him. And tonight, for the most part, you saw why. A lot of good things there. Yeah, again, the Arroyo touchdown, broken coverage, I understand that. But it wasn't just that, right? He was hitting checkdowns all game long. Other than just that one big play, you saw Drew Lock take what the defense gave him over and over and over again. Running game, I'm not going to say it was anything special outside of the 70-yard run, because there was a lot of like 2 yards and a cloud of dust. But I like Jacardia Wright. I thought he looked good. You can see the Chris Carson in him. Like I said, Arroyo, I thought played well. A lot of the players on the offensive line, I thought, did a pretty good job, at least holding up early in the game. And generally speaking, I came out of this game feeling like, hey, we've got some tough decisions to make with some of these backup offensive players, and especially on the offensive line. Now, Richmond getting hurt makes things a little bit muddy, because you would have liked to have seen what he would have done, but I thought Cable Dew looked better. Haynes looked fine. Oluwatimi had the awesome block on Simmons to spring right for the long touchdown. So there was quite a bit of stuff happening on that side of the ball early. Even I thought Velez Jones had a couple of nice plays as well. So that side of the ball, pretty on point early in the game. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today and remember to always gamble responsibly. So, look, preseason, winning and losing doesn't matter, but you do want to see your team go out there and look good for some period of time. Even if it's just like a quarter, it's a quarter. And that's what we got tonight. We got to see this offense look really good for the first quarter. Even that drive where we started at the 35 and it was kind of disappointing that we only got a field goal out of it, we still were able to come up on 3rd and long and hit a screen pass to make it a more reasonable field goal. And that kind of stuff is valuable. This is an offense. This is a team that is going to kick a lot of field goals this season, probably because they are not a team that goes for it on 4th down much. So the ability to carve out a few yards on 3rd down to make that field goal a little more makeable is valuable. So even the little things like that, man. So all that stuff, great. Really cool stuff. Liked what I saw from the OC. So good stuff. And defensively, too. I saw a lot of quarterback pressure in this game. There was almost none last week. But this week, I saw Connor O'Toole doing stuff in the backfield pretty consistently. I saw Jamie Sheriff. He shows out in the preseason a lot, and today was no exception. Chaz Surratt had the awesome strip sack on, I think it was Mitchell Trubisky. And I know we didn't get the ball, but it was still an awesome play by him to come up from behind and poke the ball out. Chaz Surratt, by the way, played a really good game out there today. And remember, there was no Tyrese Knight out there today. So not only were we playing our backups on defense, we were, in some cases, not even playing our backups. I guess Tyrese Knight at this point is so valuable and so good and so trustworthy, they don't even need to play him in a game like this. And I thought that Surratt and Pooh Paul Jr. or Chris Paul Jr., or whatever you want to call him, I thought both those guys looked really good. I thought they made plays in coverage. I thought they made plays against the run. The run defense looked better early on when we were, at the very least, had some semblance of rosterable players out there. I think we did a better job stopping the run. And other than a couple of plays where receivers broke open, I think the coverage held up their end of the bargain as well. Igbenogany didn't have as good a game as he did last week, but I still thought overall he played pretty much fine. The penalty he got hit with was very, very light. And in most games, I'm inclined to believe that would not be a flag, so I'm not going to really stress out about that one. That's not something that I think I'm going to criticize too much. There was some really good coverage by Noah on other plays as well. 1 or 2 times he got beat a little bit, but overall, pretty good game for Noah. I imagine that he's wormed his way into the good graces of this coaching staff. Pritchett had a really awesome play coming up to defend against a screen where he looked like Devin Witherspoon. That looked like a Devin Witherspoon play. And if he can do that kind of stuff, he's good because the coverage stuff I think is pretty solid. So if he can come up and play the run and tackle aggressively, then you're in good shape. So Pritchett, cool stuff there. So yeah, overall, the crew that we played in the first half defensively on point. The only real and there was a little bit of a pall over this game because the very first defensive play, we had Bud Clark go down with what looks like some kind of a broken ankle, and I'm not expecting him to come back from that this season, which is devastating. That definitely put a little bit of a pall over the proceedings, but that was the one bad thing. And don't get me wrong, that is a bad thing because I think Bud Clark had a significant role to play on this team this year. I don't think he was going to start, but I think he was going to do stuff. So not having Bud Clark, which I'm assuming we won't. If he's okay somehow, then we dodged a bullet. But I have a pretty bad feeling about the Bud Clark situation. But other than that, I think the defense played a really good game. Not too down on any of that stuff. I think there was that one, I think there was this one check down to, I can't even remember who it was to, but there was one check down on the first drive where things got away from us a little bit, but wasn't anything too bad. And if you're being completely transparent, Gunnar Helm stepped out of bounds on what should have been a long catch on 3rd and long. and we blew the coverage, and Helm just didn't get his foot down. So got a little bit lucky there, I suppose, but I thought the defense showed a lot of improvement in most of the areas they needed to, and I was feeling really good about this team in the second quarter going into halftime. Even in the third quarter, I thought they were hanging in there, but things got away. Things definitely got away from them, and for the most part, there's a couple guys you can really call out right now. One would be Jalen Milroe, who was awful tonight. He had the one good scramble. It was like a second and long, and he picked up a first down. He had the good pass to Rochelle that he dropped. Other than that, everything was like behind the receiver or ahead of the receiver. Accuracy was all over the place. Decision making was terrible. He looked scared. His body language looked like he didn't want to be out there. The first interception was about as bad a throw as you're going to see. Just throws it right to the linebacker, doesn't notice him. The third one, and I mean the second one, excuse me. And by the way, the second one, let's be very clear here. The main reason why Henderson fell down is because the throw was behind him and he was trying to go back to get it. So that's a terrible throw. I don't think the receiver had that much to do with it. Even the completed passes, like he had a nice completion to Foster. Foster had a big play in this game, but even that throw wasn't that great. I think his best throw of the night might have actually been the one that Cody White had a chance to go up and get. It was a one-on-one situation, and Cody White kind of dropped it. Or well, I don't know if you'd call it a drop, but Cody White could have caught it, and he didn't. But that was kind of the best throw that Milroe had in this game. Other than that, it was bad throws and bad decisions. It's okay to just tuck it and run it, dude. That's your game anyway. And I didn't love the way we utilized him. Definitely way too many straight dropbacks. You should be putting that guy on the move, in motion, letting him bootleg out and throw on the run, or have options to tuck and run it. But yeah, that's going nowhere fast. Jalen Milroe, no. This is year 2 now, and I don't need him to look like an NFL starter, but I need him to look like an NFL player. And last week we didn't really see it, and this week was probably even a little bit worse. So I don't really know where else to go with that right now. I understand that Milroe got hung out to dry a little bit by some of his teammates. You had the offensive pass interference on Ricky White. You had some penalties on the offensive line, holding, false start. But there's a huge difference you can see in this offense when Drew Lock is out there versus when Jalen Milroe's out there. And Milroe, with all the mistakes he made, and he made some bad mistakes, was one of the main reasons why we lost this game. So that would be one of the focus points right now. The other would probably be, once you get down to our back end defensive tackles, guys like Uso Suamalo and I can't even remember the other guy's name, but we get run over, man. Those guys just get plowed every single snap. They get driven back, and we can't stop the run. So, I mean, the good news is it's not like Suamalo ever had any real chance of making this team, but you can see that he's not ready for this. He's an interesting physical talent, but he just gets driven back constantly. And I feel like if Suamalo was ever in a game, other teams would just run it right up the gut 90% of their plays, and I don't know if we could stop it. So that was a big contributing factor here. The Titans did not run the ball that well early in the game, but as the game went on, they started to really wear on this run D. And a big reason why is just because when you get to the back of our defensive tackle depth, there's nothing there. Suamalo in particular, but he's not the only one. And look, the fact that we were able to play a little bit better early in the game is a good thing. It means that you had better play from guys like Riley Mills and Brandon Peely, and you did see some better edge setting from guys like O'Toole, and I thought Jared Ivey played a pretty good game as well. But once you get to lower on the depth chart, yeah, there's a difference. And Andre Fuller and Michael Dansby, I both thought had awful games. Not so much in coverage, but mostly trying to come up to defend the run. So when I look at that stuff, I definitely see players that aren't ready to play in NFL games yet. And that's not surprising. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But in the case of some of the stuff that Dansby was doing, it's like you don't have to be ready for the NFL to come up and stick your nose in there and run support. And there were a couple of circumstances where he just looked kind of passive to me, so I don't know how that develops, but that is a concerning sign to me a little bit, I guess. But there's plenty of time there. I'm not going to sweat that one too much. And again, back end of the depth chart. And other than that, it was mostly just special teams, right? We missed a field goal. We missed an extra point that I know got pushed back by penalty, but you still should have made it. And we had the fumble by Cody White on the punt return, which was a terrible rep. By the way, Cody White's having he's having the preseason from hell, so starting to feel like Cody White's not going to make the team even with the Bobo injury, and we might be rocking with, at this point, I'd say Emmanuel Henderson. And Henderson actually messed up on a kick return too, where he tried to take the ball back into the end zone. But as a gunner, as like a cover guy, I actually thought he looked pretty good in this game. So he may end up being the guy after all, which is not a bad thing. He's cheaper and younger than Cody White, but yeah, Cody White not had a good preseason so far. Seeming like I have to imagine something like that punt return he had in this game, combined with the sort of drop he had on the Milrow one-on-one ball. I feel like that's probably going to go ahead and seal his fate a little bit. I don't think he's making the team right now, and that shocks me. I thought he would have been a shoo-in if Bobo goes down, but the last 2 preseason games have been just bad. And that's really kind of the name of the game here. So, yeah, special teams. Look, Cody White's not going to be returning punts for us when the regular season starts. We have multiple guys that are much better than him and Cody White might not make the team anyway. The Myers thing, though, going to have to get that straight because that's the last thing we need right now. We don't need our kicker that broke franchise records and nearly broke NFL records last year to be a problem for us when we're trying to repeat, because we may not have a lot of margin for error this year. We may need to win 15 games to win the division, and I can't have my kicker, who came through every time when we really needed it last year, suddenly become a liability. So hopefully he gets right over the next couple weeks. But that matters. If he's missing kicks, we got a problem. Fortunately, we don't have a contract problem, because at the very least, his contract is not extend past this year, because we never extended him this offseason. So maybe that works to our favor, depending on how this season goes. But get it right, Myers. We know you can do it. We know how good you can be. Just go out there and get it done. And I think that's really about it. That's how we ended up blowing this game. Jalen Milrow, Uso Suomalo, those guys are in the spotlight. Aaron Smith, Michael Dansby. To a certain extent, maybe you throw Andre Fuller in there, although I thought Fuller had a couple of nice moments. And yeah, can't stop the run, can't run a normal offense. And there it is. But the initial guys we put out there, the second stringers and even some of the third stringers, great job. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Gonna stream later. Hope to see you there.